Hey there, comic friends. I'm Travis, and it's time for an edition of What the Fugue, where I talk about what's going on with me in my week of comics. How's it going, everybody? I got stuff to talk about. Woo! No real Marvel news that I've noted. I don't think that's just because I don't pay as close attention to the Marvel stuff. I just don't think right now Marvel's got, they're not, you know, they got pretty tight ship and things are running right for them and nothing really new is happening. So, I don't got a lot to say about that. So, we're going to jump right into DC stuff because there's lots of DC stuff. So, here we go. My opinion, of course, you can disagree with it. Gladly disagree with it down below. But if I disagree with you, again, don't get offended by that, okay? Anyway, so DC releasing some new books. They've announced 3 new books that they're going to be releasing, like October-ish, it seems like. October, yeah, I think October. They're going to do another Deathstroke comic book. I'm assuming that has to do with the fact that the character is extremely popular in Arrow and stuff like that. So they're going to relaunch the book again. Tony Daniel is writing it. I don't know how much artwork he's doing on it. He's got somebody else helping him do art on it. I guess we'll see what that's like. I don't really have an opinion one way or the other on that. I like Deathstroke as a character. I liked him pre-52 better than the 52 now, but you know, than in the new 52. But we'll see what that's like. I don't think that's going to be on my list of things that I'm going to be pulling though. The other books the other 2 books that were announced, a certain amount of uproar over them around certain things. They kind of announced them as being under the Batman family of books, which of course immediately makes people angry. Everybody, you know, jumped on the internet immediately and said, you know, how you know, give us something else. Why does it have to always be Bat books? You know, this is as bad as the X-Men or the Avengers. Blah 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 blah. Well, you're right, it is. But here's the thing: is stuff under the Bat umbrella sells. That stuff sells better than anything else does, and they're in the business to make money. And so they're going to do things that make money for them. And quite frankly, they produce another Bat book where everybody goes out and buys it. Or a lot of people go out and buy it. I know some of you are going to say, oh, I'm not buying these. That's fine. But I think it tends to, I mean, it's just, from a business standpoint, obviously there's a threshold somewhere in there where you'll break things. But I don't think they think they're at that point yet. They're obviously not. I think these books are going to sell well. Or at least one of them, I'm assuming, is going to sell well. I don't know. Anyway, one of them is Arkham Manor. I'm curious about that one because Arkham Manor, from my understanding, is basically they have to rebuild Arkham Asylum, and they're using Wayne Manor to build Arkham Asylum. To me, that doesn't make any sense. I'm curious about it. I'm going to check it out. But it doesn't make any sense at all to me. First off, I can't imagine that Bruce Wayne is going to give up Wayne Manor. It's been in the family since the 1800s. So I don't see him giving that up. Plus, last time I checked, the Batcave was underneath Wayne Manor. Would you want all of those loonies that close to you? I mean, I guess there's something to be said for them being that close, but at the same time, to me, that just strikes me as being an accident waiting to happen. So, kind of curious about that one. I don't know what I would think about that. The other one is Gotham Academy. And that one I'm really interested in. I think it's Gotham Academy because they use Gotham as opposed to someplace else, because Gotham probably arguably is one of the most well-known cities in the DC universe. Of course, we got a TV show, Gotham, coming out. All that stuff kind of lends to the name. I have no idea exactly what the book is going to be about. I don't think it's going to have characters we've known before. I think it's going to introduce us to new characters. Because quite frankly, other than Damian, I don't think there's very many DC characters who are of age to even be going to Gotham Academy. You know, kind of Hogwarts meets Gotham kind of a thing is what it potentially sounds like in some sense. I'm interested in that. That could be that book that's going to speak to the tween, you know, that in-between teenager and not a little kid segment of the population, maybe all of else. That I think is really interesting. It's written by Becky Cloonan and another person, which of course is interesting because it's not that Becky doesn't write, she writes her own stuff, but she's more known as an artist to most of us. So kind of a bummer she's not doing the art. Still a book I'm interested in checking out. I think a lot of people are going to check that book out just because it has the potential to have new stuff in it, a new thing. It could be really fun. I'm kind of hoping that it's Kim Impossible, for those of you who know that cartoon, meets Gotham. That would be awesome. I think that'd be a lot of fun in a lot of ways. So I'm all over that. And so I really don't have a problem with it being more Bat books, because I get that that's what it is. But these don't feel like Bat books. The Arkham Manor one feels more like a Bat book. Gotham Academy doesn't feel like a Bat book at all, other than it happens to be in Gotham. I never really considered Birds of Prey to be a Bat book, but Birds of Prey always got folded underneath the Bat titles because they would function in Gotham at times, or we'd have people who were part of the Bat family at one point or another in the group in most of its incarnations. But it never really was a Bat book per se. So I'm okay with that. And like I said, from a business standpoint, I think you have to see it that way. I mean, we all squawk that, like I said, we need something new, we need something different or whatever. I think Gotham Academy is going to be something new and different. I just think that they're wisely draping it under this umbrella because it's going to bring in a certain amount of viewers immediately because of the Gotham, because of the Bat start of it, to give it a shot. If it had been named DC Academy or Keystone Academy or something like that people aren't really as familiar with, or it doesn't have an immediate ooh factor to it, I don't think as many people are going to pick it up. And so not as many eyes on it initially to, survive the attrition that normally comes with that kind of stuff. So I'm okay with that. Like I said, I think it makes sense. I mean, do we really need another Batman book? No, we don't need another Batman book. But these don't feel like Batman books. They have to do with Gotham and all of that, and that is a huge machine. There's plenty of stories that can be told within all that don't have to be directly related to Batman himself. And because it's under that umbrella, it's gonna get more traction, and right for us to get new characters and new interests and whatnot, there has to be a way for it to get traction in the first place. And we don't all seem willing to just go out and buy any book that just shows up just because it shows up. To honestly give it a shot and give it a chance. So they need to do these kinds of things, I think, from a business standpoint, to get the traction, to give us something interesting. So hopefully, like I said, the other DC news is it's been made official now that David Finch, the artist David Finch, and David Finch's wife are going to take over Wonder Woman come issue number 36. Anybody who watches any of my videos, I'm a huge fan of the current run of Wonder Woman. I talk about it all the time that I've really enjoyed this run. And I've even said, I'm looking forward to it ending. I'm looking forward to this current creator team to end, to see what they tie up for us in a nice, neat bow. And then whatever the adventure is going to be going forward. What are we going to get? I'm curious in a number of reasons about that. Okay, so this is another point in the video where if you're easily offended by me talking about women, or you're offended by me talking about feminism, or you're offended by me talking about any of that kind of stuff, you consider that me, stirring the pot or causing a problem or representing somebody that I shouldn't or whatever, turn the video off and don't bother to watch the rest of it and whatever else I have to talk about, because I'm going to talk about it because it's there, it's relevant. Both creators have done multiple interviews now, basically running away from the word feminism as fast as they can when it has to do with Wonder Woman. Makes no sense whatsoever. I think it's pretty well acknowledged amongst everybody that she's a feminist icon. Whether she's a feminist herself, she's a feminist icon. And so to back away from that to me is absurd. I mean, they are living in that fear of the word. And quite frankly, I think Wonder Woman is a feminist. There's lots of articles floating around out there now on like Comic Book Alliance and, probably on, maybe not on Newsarama. They tend to not be quite so charged and political. Kelly Thompson, I'm sure, will have something on She Has No Head about it, on CBR. Like I said, plenty of stuff out there you can read about it that are probably way more eloquent than I am about the fact that, really Wonder Woman is a feminist. How can she not be? And so I think it's just absurd to run from the word. I mean, really, feminism means equality for everybody, and because they don't have equality, and they don't, let's be real, because they don't, they have a word for it, feminism, so they have something to hold up as a shield to try and get that equality. That's Wonder Woman. She represents that in every way, shape, and form. It's crazy to run away from the word. And they've since backpedaled a little bit, the creators have, to kind of say, whoa, we didn't mean that that's a bad thing, just that we want her to be human or whatever. And certainly, there's no reason not to tell stories where Wonder Woman is flawed, or Wonder Woman makes mistakes, or whatever, or human, even though I would question whether or not she's technically human, considering her origins. Whichever origins you choose to use, whether you choose to use the current New 52, where she's actually a demigod, or you choose the clay version with magic, or whatever. Regardless. So, to me, that's just absurd. It's absurd and cowardly. I don't know what else to call it, to be running from that. I think they should embrace it. I think that there are plenty of us readers who are guys who aren't afraid of the word feminism. That I don't know. To me, it seems silly. I guess I don't have a lot to say about it, other than I find it upsetting that they're trying to run from it. I don't know. The book needs to be vulgarly hitting us over the head about feminism. I don't know. I don't think anybody expects that to be the case. I don't expect anybody who is, diehard championing feminism to their dying breath about everything thinks that that's what that book should just be about. I mean, because I don't think anybody who understands what feminism is and thinks it's about man-hating, thinks that it's about, those sorts of things, that, superiority of women or any of that kind of stuff. No. And if you think it's that, you need to check yourself, because obviously you've got your own insecurities, I think, about what it's all about. It's just about equality. It's about being treated like everybody else. And here's this, awesome, powerful woman who has the ability to champion that. Awesome. Anyway, I'm probably not getting the book. I was kind of going, I was going to pick up whoever got it next. Now I just live in fear. I really, really do not like David Finch's women. I do not like the way he draws them. I've complained about it for a number of years now, ever since he came to the DC universe. I've complained about how his women are drawn. I think he draws a kick-ass Batman. Love his backgrounds. Love all that stuff, but I hate the wasp waist. Every female's face is exact, pinned up nose. Their faces look exactly the same. You just put different hair on them or different hair color, and they literally look all the same. It's always this kind of weird, arched-backed, bizarre, poor-postured thing that all of his women always are. You can go back. There are plenty of people who have spoofed on one of his Justice League drawings where it's got Wonder Woman in it, and she's this ridiculous pose. And so all these little artists went along and put all of the other heroes in that ridiculous pose: Superman, Batman, Aquaman, Flash, Green Lantern, and just to show how ridiculous the pose was and whatnot. So anyway, and his wife's writing experience, and I'm all for new writers getting writing experience, but the wife's writing experience, to the best of my knowledge, as far as comic books go, wrote some shorts in some Xenoscope books. That isn't a real positive to me. I think that David Finch is probably the heavyweight. He's probably telling most of the story, and she's helping with the workload, because we know from experience when he was doing Batman the Dark Knight, when the New 52 first started out, that it was really hard for him to keep up with doing both the writing and the drawing, and this way he kind of gets all of that. I think he's still under contract with DC. Maybe he's not, as far as being an exclusive. But I remember, a couple years ago when the New 52 first started, it was a big coup to have brought David Finch in to the DC world, because he'd been a Marvel person for so long. But whatever, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of how his women are drawn. So that whole mixed bag makes it very hard for me to think about continuing going forward with with Wonder Woman. Like I said, I was thinking I was going to pick some of it up with the new run. Now I'm more inclined to think I'm not going to. Just because I got enough bad feelings about it that I think it's prudent for me not to. But I might. I may not put it on my pull, but go to the local chain store and pick up a few issues so I can officially complain about it. Kind of like I did when they canceled Hellblazer and I started up Constantine. I went and bought a couple issues of Constantine just so I could officially look at it and say it sucks, have it in my hands. So I honestly read it and say it sucks before I say it sucks. So anyway, there's that with that. I don't know. I think it's crazy for them to back away from DC, to back away, and the writers and the creators to back away from what Wonder Woman has basically represented all along, right? Just seems silly. Anyway, so there's that. Let's see. I've read some trades. I've decided that when I'm doing my excuse me, I don't have my drink with me. When I'm doing my What's Fugue, I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that I read. So I did read this, Samsar. It was fun. You know, it was a good little read. Kind of told this kind of circular story about some pretty depressing people living in some pretty depressing situations, and kind of the ruts that are there, and the bad that people can get into, and just kind of, you know, repeating themselves over and over, kind of a thing. But interesting. And I also finished. This is the Death Trade, Neil Gaiman. This basically collects a bunch of stories of death that were from either in the Sandman book or her own miniseries, The High Cost of Living. And this also has some other things in here. It has a like a 5-page or 6-page comic on safe sex, presented by Death. That was put out during the era when AIDS was really rampant, and so you get Death basically showing us how to use a condom. Pretty awesome. And some things like that in it. A bunch of great pinup art at the end of it that was really enjoyable to look at. Different artists' renditions of Death was pretty awesome. A good trade all in all. If you really enjoy Sandman, this is a good supplement to a lot of that. It wouldn't make any kind of sense really on its own. You have to know the character for most of the things in this to make sense. And there's some recurring characters that show up from the Sandman series, show up in her series too, and it's just all kind of enjoyable and fun. Loved reading it. Brought back the old school memories of this era of Vertigo and what it represented in the stories that were being told, and so that was really fun. I don't know, kind of almost dreary to some sense, just because it all has to do with death, obviously. So I mean, you're talking about fatality to some degree, but still really enjoyable, really interesting. The miniseries that's collected in here, I really like the way it ended. It's kind of basically based on one day every century or so, Death takes on human form and is a regular person and lives a regular life. So she understands and feels what being a person's like, so she has a better understanding of what she's taking away when, of course, she shows up and collects you upon your death. Really cool. Really enjoyable. I think that's it for this time. Oh, as far as news, if there is a comic book roundtable this week, and I still need to discuss it more with the people who typically would show up, it won't be on Friday. Friday is the 4th of July here in the United States. I'm assuming everyone's going to be busy, and it doesn't matter because typically Friday is the day that I get my comic books, and I read them on Friday so I can talk about them Friday night. It's a holiday. I get, there's no mail service, no delivery service whatsoever. I will more than likely have my books on Saturday. So I'm going to read them on Saturday and probably have a comic book roundtable on Saturday. Might have some other new faces on. We'll see about that if we go forward with that. So if you like hanging out when the live show actually happens, there might be one this Saturday. Don't get upset with me if there ultimately ends up not being one, because that's only going to happen if, like I said, the other people that are involved, Jen and stuff like that, are interested in doing it on Saturday instead. So we'll kind of play it by ear as far as that goes, how many books we all get read and what we want to do. I think here fairly quickly I will be doing a hangout with Eric from Longbox Review. I believe it's going to be on his channel. We're actually going to do it as a hangout. It'll also, I'm sure he ends up splitting it out, and it'll end up being a podcast too. If you happen to check out his podcast and you listen to his podcast and you enjoy listening to him on the podcast and me on the podcast, those times I'm on it, as a podcast as opposed to listening to us or watching us on a hangout. Have necessarily no idea exactly what we're going to talk about. I'm sure we're going to talk about some comic books in some sense. I just don't know exactly what that is yet. Anyway, if there's comics in particular you think I should be talking about that you might want to hear on that show when I talk with Eric, leave some comments down below or tweet me or whatever. Let me know what that might be. I don't know. I'm kind of on a blank on what books I want to talk about that I haven't talked about. But I know I'll come up with something because I can always talk comics. At any rate, thanks for hanging in if you hung in with me. You don't like my view of feminism or that kind of stuff, please leave a message down below. But I'm not going to hate you. But I will comment back. If I think you're wrong, I'm going to say, I think you're wrong. That may be the end of the argument because it's the internet. You can only argue so long, right? Yeah. It is what it is, right? Anyway, thank you for everybody who's hung with me. Thanks for all the new subscribers that I've gotten here in the last little bit. I lost a crap load of subscribers a couple months ago due to excitement. Got a bunch of new subscribers. Awesome. Thank you for subscribing. If you are subscribed to me and you are making videos, comic book or anything like that oriented, and I am not subscribed to you, let me know. Because I subscribe to anybody who's putting out content. If you're putting out content too, if you're subscribed to me, I'm going to be subscribed to you because I want to know what you're talking about. If you're taking the time to listen to me, I want to take the time to listen to you too. So please do that. In some cases, I think is what has happened is people have subscribed to me and they haven't been putting out content at the time. So I look, when you subscribe to me, I go look at your channel. Oh, you're not putting out any content. So I don't subscribe to you just so I can keep track of who my subscribers are, who are my subscribers. And then suddenly you start making content and I'm not watching or whatever, hit me up. Go, hey, I see you're not subscribed to me. I'm subscribed to you, and I've got content. I'm not gonna be offended by that. I'm not gonna think you're some snot, trying to tell me I should be watching your channel or whatnot. Let me know it's there, and let me know you're putting out stuff. I keep finding people that's the case or whatever. So, like I said, let me know. Let me know you got a channel and you're putting out stuff so I can check it out so I can watch it and whatnot. I'm not necessarily going to be advertising your channel or anything like that, but certainly I want to see what you have to say because I'm interested in what everybody's got to say about comics generally. Anyway, that really is it now. Have a great week, everybody. For those of you celebrating going into the weekend, have a great one. Have a safe one because, of course, this is the time of year where we blow up lots of stuff and drink lots of stuff. So be careful. And see you next week.